Hi, welcome. It is the Nisha Jackson Show. She's Nisha Jackson. I'm Rusty Humphries. We sure appreciate you being here. One of the reasons that you're here is to not only learn some great things, but also learn a little bit more about Nisha. And if you have any kind of thing that you're just not feeling right, you're not feeling well, you know you can get to a better spot, or maybe you've gotten to my place where you're in your 50s and it's like, is this the best it gets? It's not. And Nisha can help you. Go to nishajackson.com to get a hold of her and find out what she can do to help you feel better. That's right? That's what you do.
Yes, that's what I do. That's what we do at One Peak Medical Clinics. We have medical clinics throughout Oregon. We're expanding rapidly, which I think is going to be super exciting for people to have access to this type of healthcare, which is just a different way of working with patients. It's a way of looking at the whole system rather than just treating symptoms. We look at the whole body. We analyze as much as we can possibly analyze and then get it all balanced. And I just think it's a wonderful way to be able to help people and put them on an individualized plan that is for helping to prevent age-related disorders or age-related diseases. And just help them, feel better and live and look better.
And there's a lot of new books out there. Suzanne Summers has a new book that's out there. And a lot of what Suzanne talks about is it's called A New Way to Age.
Nice.
And a lot of what Nisha does is what Suzanne talks about in her books. And it's amazing. So go to nishajackson.com. And before we go, would you please subscribe to this program? Let people know. So hit the subscribe button. Very, very important. All right, Nisha, what's on your mind today?
So just coming out of this COVID, or trying to sort of come out of it, and people really, their whole mindset has been changed from this, right? And I think one of the things that I think their mindset has been changed with is, what can I do to protect myself, and is it going to get worse?
Right.
I mean, hasn't that crossed your mind? Like, this isn't as bad as it's going to get worse.
No, for me, I think it's all overblown, and I'm just ready to go back to get chips and salsa in a restaurant. But that's me.
Not chips and salsa. Okay. So it is going to get worse. Our immune systems, on average, are getting more compromised. We're more susceptible to disease and disorders.
Why is that?
Because we are not taking care of ourselves the way that we should. And if you think about the average American, I mean, okay, let's just try to imagine how things were 50, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, or even how your parents were in younger years. Think about our lifestyle now compared to 50, 60, 70 years ago.
I mean, it's sweet. We got computers and all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, right? So there's a lot of great inventions, obviously, but there's a lot of pollution to our immune system. And we're not taking care of ourselves. Sugar, flour, starch, processed foods are readily available. And people aren't sleeping. They're overstimulated. Their nervous systems are undone. So all of these things lead to a more compromised immune system. So I think people coming out of this COVID, Rusty, are worried that maybe they're at risk. And I think people at risk, so, they kind of were sort of categorizing men, middle-aged, not even middle-aged, but even younger than middle-aged, overweight, were at risk. And
quit looking at me.
And my son-in-law, he's not overweight, but he was worried. And I think people are just thinking about, okay, am I really at risk, and what can I do? And now is the time to take this seriously, because I believe it is going to get worse. And so I just thought I would explain something that's sort of interesting, is diseases and disorders that are actually making a comeback in the United States.
Oh,
not
good.
To be a total downer.
I was going to say, this sounds like a fun, happy show.
This is a downer. This is not a downer. This is going to provide a hope for you that I do have some answers on how to improve your immune system and to protect yourself.
All right.
Not that you won't get any of these things, but I think you can give yourself a fighting chance to build up your immune system by doing some of the right lifestyle changes. So one of the things is Black Death. You've heard of the Black Death, right?
Come on.
I'm not kidding. It's making a comeback in the United States. This is primarily typically found, it's been noted in California, Colorado, New Mexico. There are antibiotics that treat this, but it can be life-threatening. It's making a comeback. Also, we know that syphilis and chlamydia are on the rise. Some of the antibiotics and medications that we've used for syphilis and chlamydia. Now, these things were almost completely gone.
They were?
Yeah, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, completely gone. But now they're making a comeback, unfortunately. And I think part of the problem is that we're getting antibiotic resistance from these things.
Yeah, there's another problem in that those two particular diseases of what people are going a little bit crazy.
Yeah, well, and protecting yourself, that's an easy one to protect yourself by using condoms. Scarlet fever is another one that's making a comeback. Scarlet fever is one of those things that we actually didn't see a lot of in the last 20 or 30 years, but it's making a comeback. Measles and mumps are also making a comeback because more people are not getting vaccinated. And this is not going to be a vaccination discussion. I don't even want to like enter into that conversation right now. But there have been more outbreaks of measles and mumps in the United States. And these numbers are actually increasing pretty significantly. Again, I think people are more susceptible. There's some question on how long vaccines are actually working. Again, the resistance of treatment and then people not being vaccinated. Whooping cough is another one that's making a comeback. And that's something that, again, we didn't see much of, and we don't really know why that has seen such a rise in the last 2 years, but that's something kind of concern because that one can be also fatal at times. There were more than 48,000 people in the United States that had that this last year. Leprosy.
Oh, come on.
I'm not
from
kidding.
the Bible.
No, I'm not kidding. Leprosy is making a comeback.
When I was in Bangladesh, I saw a woman on the street begging with leprosy. It was one of the hardest things I've ever looked at. I mean, that's a nasty, horrible thing.
Yeah.
And it's coming back, but not in America. I mean, I saw in Bangladesh, but it's not in America.
Yes,
is it?
yes, it's coming back in the United States.
Oh, come on.
Yes.
Oh,
leprosy.
Man.
Legionnaire's disease is another one. Again, these are things that we hadn't seen for a while, making a comeback. Polio and post-polio syndrome, people that have had polio before, getting polio again, or the new type of polio that people are getting, which is so concerning.
There's a new type of polio?
Yes.
The old one wasn't bad enough?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
There's different strains now that we're seeing.
You're freaking me out.
Gout is another thing that's super painful. Have you ever had gout?
Yes.
Gout is on the rise.
It feels like when you have gout, like if you have a sheet on your big toe, like an elephant is sitting on your toe.
Yeah, it's very painful, like arthritis feeling. Yes, man. It can be very painful. It's getting more and more common. Again, I believe this has a lot to do with what's going on in our own system, our nutrient deficiencies, how our gut is operating from an immune standpoint, because all of our immunity starts in the gut. We're also seeing, this is unbelievable. We're seeing a much higher rate of rickets.
What is rickets?
Vitamin D deficiency.
Well, you've been talking about vitamin D for months and months and months and years.
Vitamin D deficiency. Okay. This is easily treated. If you're not taking vitamin D, please start taking vitamin D3. Everybody should be on vitamin D3 unless for some bizarre reason you have a high level. It can be checked, but most people need daily intake of this fat-soluble vitamin. Scurvy is making another run in the United States. It's a vitamin C deficiency. Almost every cell in our body needs vitamin C to function.
That's back from like the pirate days.
I know. It's like, it's a sailor's disease. So scurvy is really, it's starting to also make a comeback. It's more common in people who don't eat fruits and vegetables, obviously getting vitamin C.
And starbursts do not count.
Starbursts do not count.
No.
So these are just some of the things that are actually that we hadn't seen for a long time, but they're coming back. And the take-home message here is super simple. Start sleeping better at night. Turn your brain off and give it a break so that your body can reboot. Don't overfeed yourself. Try to do things like intermittent fasting where you're going longer periods of time without eating and shorter periods of time of eating. Like maybe only eat between the hours of 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. or 11 and 7 p.m. so that your body can work on recovery all the other hours. Your immune system will actually be more optimized if you do that style of eating. Consider supplementing with vitamin C. You can go to my website, nishajackson.com and get a canister of powdered vitamin C, and consider just starting to use a quarter to a half a teaspoon once or twice a day, just to boost your system a little bit and to protect you. Your whole family can do this. Think about getting on B vitamins. B vitamins are essential for all of your brain chemicals, but also for your gut. Probiotics are important because they put the bacteria back in your gut. And just remember, your immunity starts in your gut.
Okay.
If your gut's not healthy, your immune system's not going to be well supported.
All right. So the best way to get started on this new health regimen, it's not that hard. It sounds like. Go to nishajackson.com. That's where some of the highest quality supplements in the world are hand selected by Nisha. And just go to nishajackson.com. Vitamin C, vitamin D3, vitamin B. What else do we need to grab?
Good sleep. Oh, you mean as supplement wise? Yeah. So those are good ones to start with: D, C, and B. And they're simple to take. They'll actually help your energy. They'll help your brain. They'll help your immune system. And I just know that when people are taking care of themselves, doesn't mean they won't come in contact with bacteria and viruses and other illnesses. But if you treat the nutrient deficiencies, your body will be better able to ward that off. Nice. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for our army, our immune system army, to do their job.
We want to make sure you don't get leprosy. That's a bad thing. I can't even...
Scurvy. I was dying on the scurvy. I'm like, really? We're not getting enough C. But think about people's diet. It's like chips. And think about just like certain medications and birth control, antidepressants, certain blood pressure meds, hormone therapies for men and women can reduce your body's ability to absorb B and D. Oh. So, and not to mention that we're probably not getting it from our food. I mean, people eat junk. I mean, I have talked to people that said, I don't remember the last time I ate a good salad or vegetables. Like, people can go weeks without eating vegetables. I don't understand. I don't get it. But it does happen a lot.
Yeah. I know a lot of people
more often than not.
A lot of people would rather have Skittles than the fruit. They want
Skittles.
Yeah. Oh. Taste the rainbow. Yeah, don't taste.
Please don't have the Skittles. That's disgusting.
Don't do the Skittles.
Dyes, preservatives, just not good for you.
Do yourself a favor and first of all, subscribe, please, to the Nisha Jackson Show just by hitting that button right there. And whether it's on YouTube or Roku or Apple TV or Apple Podcasts, wherever you find us, make sure you subscribe and share it with your friends. You may be on Facebook, you're watching, share it with your friends. We appreciate it. And do yourself a favor by going to nishajackson.com. nishajackson.com and find out everything that she can do for you, and the brand new book that's been out for a little while, available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble or nishajackson.com. It's called
Brilliant Burnout, and pretty much everything we talk about is actually in this book. You can just turn to the chapter that's relevant for you, and it really is good for men and women. There's really only one chapter in here that maybe is more relevant for women, which is the female hormone chapter, but men and women have the same hormones, just different ratios. So it's somewhat applicable.
All right. Go get that too. nishajackson.com is where you get all that information. And make sure you subscribe so you know the next shows, because they're coming out every week, like clockwork. They're coming out. So we'll catch you next time. I'm Rusty Humphries. She is Nisha Jackson. And thanks for tuning in to the Nisha Jackson Show.